right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Kings NBA Survive in Advance playoff show right here, streaming live on YouTube. And I am more than happy to introduce my other two Kings. We'll start with the familiar face here because, as you can see, look, this guy never misses an opportunity to advertise for his favorite team, and I don't blame him. Okay, but hey, he covers this team, so he has every right to represent the Charlotte Hornets, and that is my longtime Sports Kings partner, Dustin Pfeiffer. What's up, Dustin?
Listen, I just listen. I'm on the show with a Lakers fan and a Celtics fan. You don't know what Hornets fans go through. I have spent my entire life here in Charlotte dealing with losing a team, and then they were used to be good, and we lost a team. Bring them back. They're bad. They've only been good for a couple years. Let us enjoy what we have right now, Gene. Where it looks like the Hornets might actually have a functioning franchise, and it looks like it's only the beginning. So yes, we're very happy in Charlotte right now.
All right, okay. And having said that, you're right, and I don't blame you. Let me go ahead and introduce this other guy who normally jumps in and does the cleanup work on the weekends, but he couldn't resist joining this live NBA show because his team is the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, and that is Denny Sharma. What's up, Denny?
What's going on, guys? Always a pleasure to be here. And yeah, I always have to represent, the 18 banners that we got, and the hope and we're just happy to see Tatum back for the playoff run. So, yeah, much love. I love watching the Hornets play, but we'll maybe next year.
Hey, it's just the beginning. Hey, you should feel a compliment, Denny, because we're trying to be like the mini Celtics here. We've got Charles Lee, the assistant who came from the Celtics and won a championship, and he plays the same style, shooting those 3-pointers and running a fast pace. So
Oh yeah. I mean, those. I'm jealous. It's fun to watch those shooters. I love it. We'll talk about that. I'm sure here soon, but it's a love watching those shooters go at it.
Yeah, we will talk about that, guys. And it is a pleasure to have you on here. And folks, look, we have a lot of work to do. It's the NBA playoffs. What can I say? The playoffs are going to get started this weekend. But before that, guys, we have what we call the NBA play-in tournament, which, you know what? Dustin and Denny, they introduced this a couple of years ago. And believe it or not, a lot of people still, including myself last night, I'm talking to my best friend last night. The game was so good last night. I just almost forgot how this thing went as far as elimination, who plays who next, and all of that. So, if you guys don't mind, how about we just sort of just give everybody an understanding of how this works there? Okay, so basically, what you have here. So each conference, like the number 7 team in the standings, they host the number 8 team. We saw that last night. The winner of the 7 and 8 matchup, they are automatically the 7th seed. Okay, the loser, just like this game tonight. Okay, that we're currently watching with Philly and Orlando. So the winner of this game is automatically the 7th seed, and the loser gets another chance to get that 8th spot. And that's coming up now with the 9 in each conference, the number 9 seed and the number 10 seed. Well, the winner of those games advance to the final stage of the play-in tournament. The losers are eliminated. So that's basically how it goes. And to further extend that, the losers of the number 7 versus number 8 matchups will host the winners of the number 9 versus number 10 matchup. So I hope I didn't confuse anybody with that part right there.
yeah, basically the easy way to say it is if you're in the 9 or 10 spot, you have to win 2 games to get in the playoffs.
To get in the playoffs.
If you're in the 7 or 8 spot, you get 2 chances to win 1 game to get one of those playoff spots. So it was kind of the Hornets. Hornets were 9 against the Heat 10 last night. They actually had to play last night. It was supposed to be 7-8 with Philly and Orlando, but Philly had a conflict in their building with the Flyers, the NHL team, playing last night, so the Hornets had to go first. So it's kind of unusual, and it actually might be a benefit to the Hornets. They win last night. They're going to get an extra day's rest compared to who loses this game tonight in the 7-8. So that's interesting as well.
Yeah, that's always interesting because the playoffs are just right around the corner. So this thing goes into Friday night and Saturday morning. We're playing NBA playoffs, right? So,
yeah.
But anyway, guys, I tell you what, I don't know. I want to talk about something else before we get into what happened last night in the play-in games. Tell me what you think about Amazon Prime's. They got a stronghold on these play-in games. But last night, man, there was a blackout in one of the games that just almost had me going crazy.
Yeah, go ahead, Danny, if you want to take that Amazon, because man, that had me hot last night.
Well, I think there's a lot of chatter about the way Commissioner Silver is handling all this and trying to get expanding his business. I mean, it's all stems back to the NFL. The NFL. Well, whether we like it or not, on how much it costs to actually watch all the games in the NFL, they've actually made it easier to watch all the games by being so carefully and easily communicated, right? With basketball, with the blackouts in the local markets, it's they haven't figured it out yet. So they should take a lesson from the NFL playbook and just follow that blueprint, because if you have, and I mean, let's forget about the money. Yeah, money is always going to be a problem. It costs more to get all these things, but you are able to watch any NFL game one way or the other. For the NBA, there's some areas the local team is not available on any cable channels. It's not available in streaming. I mean, the night Bam and you went for 81 or 83. I couldn't find it. I couldn't pay for it or look for it anywhere. I had to wait for the highlights, or I was listening to it on Sirius Radio because it was not available to watch. That is just mind-boggling, that no matter how much you love a team or a player or something big like that's happening, you can't watch it. That's frustrating. Yeah, I'm with the fans out there too.
And it's crazy because the numbers came out today, and it looks like the ratings for the NBA are up this year across the board. So they did get a boost. But I agree with you, Danny. There is a lot of different spots. I mean, you're talking ESPN, and then with ESPN, which has been there, you had the change of Inside the NBA coming over, so that was a change to ESPN. And then you've got Peacock, you've got NBC, you've got Amazon Prime, and then you've got your normal local channels in the League Pass, like you said. And that's another story that we'll talk about another day, where these regional networks with FanDuel, a lot of them on FanDuel Sports Network, who I used to work for, are out of business now. And so now teams like the Hornets and some of these other teams that use them are looking for a local broadcast next year. The Braves I got them on the TV right now. Same thing. They had to create their own network, and that's what a lot of teams are having to do now. But you're right. It's a change. I said this a few weeks ago to Gene on the show. I think the people that they have on the broadcast are very good. I like what Prime's done.
Mm-hmm.
I like what
Mm-hmm.
Peacock's done with some of the, but it's hard when it's supposed to be a national spotlight game, and you're thinking NBC, but it's not on a normal, just local NBC channel.
Right.
You got to go to Peacock in the app to find it. It is difficult. And then one thing I noticed last night, again, they had the difficulty. I mean, we're talking about one of the craziest play-in games we've ever seen, and it goes out, with 30 seconds to go. I'm over here losing my mind. And then on top of that, I don't know if y'all have noticed this. I've seen it multiple times today from Bill Simmons and other people. But when a shot would go in on Amazon Prime, the announcer was almost saying like the shot was good before the ball was even in the basket. So it's like the audio wasn't synced up. And if you're going to have all these playoff games, I don't know if you've seen it, Gene, all of these play-in games are on Prime. A lot of the first round games on Saturday are on Prime. If you're going to have this be your main playoff go-to along with ESPN, you got to get that stuff figured out.
You do, guys, and I agree with both of you. Look, Denny, I know how the NFL and the battle NFL is not even over yet, because I think the Justice Department is going after them because they're not showing enough games on free TV, right, so to speak. But the NBA, I can understand why the ratings went up, because you got all these extra platforms, which is fine. They are finding them. But man, it was hell the whole year, because look, I have the NBA package through Amazon Prime. So, But the Peacock thing just really threw me off because I mean, look, these subscriptions are not free. Okay, I really thought there would be more games on NBC this year.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I know the NBA doesn't have anything to do with Charles, Ernie, Kent, and Shaq, but good Lord, did we not expect to see Kenny and all those guys a little bit more than what we had anticipated? We're going to see them this weekend and on into the playoffs. But hey, Dustin, Denny, I agree. I think they're going to work out the kinks, and you're right. I didn't even know the play-in games would be all on Amazon Prime. That's my fault for not doing my research. But man, they got to do better. And you're right, Dustin. I did notice that with the announcers. I got to think that it's a work in progress for them, but I think they're going to get better.
Yeah, they should get better. And again, they've got some of the top broadcasters. I mean, Ian Eagle on the call last night was amazing. They brought a lot of guys over from TNT. So hopefully it continue to improve. And I mean, listen, I love the Inside the NBA still here on ESPN, but I've never been a huge fan of ESPN's coverage, even though they're, considered the main network, like some of the people they have in studio and calling games. So I think they'll get it figured out. And if they can figure out their technical difficulties and stuff, and besides Inside the NBA, I'd probably rather watch a game on Prime than I would on ESPN. That's just my honest opinion.
Yeah, the funny thing is none of us complained about the Prime subscription, and that's kind of a genius move on Amazon's part is try to get more people onto Prime by offering other events and subscriptions to like sports subscription. I haven't seen any numbers to see how many more Prime subscribers are going to get because Amazon outside of, between Amazon Prime subscription and Costco memberships. I mean, it's like everybody has Amazon that that in my circle that are the truck comes by almost every day to my house. Like, you got to have it, right? So it's like it's going to be on Prime. Okay, cool. I already got Prime. No one's complaining here between us here about that, but I'm sure there's still some people that have been anti-Amazon Prime. Well, here's just another thing that they're going to have to. Another reason they have to get Prime in order to watch. But I don't hear that. I hear more so what you're saying is like, okay, we're already paying. We want the quality. Where is it? Like, and why can't I find it? Or why do I have to go to another subscriber and all this stuff where, like I said, the NFL's kind of done a better job at least being communicating it properly and scheduling it out, and working with big guys. You got people like Peacock, which Peacock is owned by NBC, which is still a big thing, but we gotta fix those training wheels when you're in preseason. Don't do it right before the playoffs or a play-in game. You're just figuring it out, right, guys? So, yeah, I'm with you.
All right, guys. Well, we got that out the way. So how about we jump into the play-in tournament? We've explained exactly how that works. Now we all have a clear understanding of that. And man, how about we talk about what took place last night? And certainly, Dustin, I have told you many times that the Charlotte Hornets this season they have impressed me. They are fun to watch on TV. That team, man, you see something in the making there. But man, that game last night was like you said, one for the ages. So, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was insane to say the least. I mean, to your point, being here in Charlotte and covering this team, you think play in, you think, okay, they just got the 9th seed, they snuck in, they didn't have a great season, but I don't think people really understand like the turnaround that they had after starting 4-14 since January 1st. They have been, if not the best, I think the second best behind the Spurs team in the NBA record wise. So it's not just like, oh, they found a way to win one game, lose one game, and they snuck into the play-in. No, they were, I believe, 33-15 or something over their last 48 games.
16,
like one of the best records. So it's been unbelievable here. And sometimes you have a team sneak into the play-in, and not to throw shade on the Miami Heat. Obviously, they just took a tough loss. But like sometimes you get into that play-in and you're like, man, this is kind of the ceiling for this team. If that doesn't work out, we got to start making some changes. The Hornets are the 3rd youngest roster in the league. So, I mean, this is only the beginning. They've got one of the better executives in the league, a good head coach, new ownership. Honestly, this ownership, again, no shade to Michael Jordan. I think he did a lot of good things business-wise, bringing the Hornets name back. But basketball-wise, they have got this in a lot better place. They've got 12 first-round picks coming up, maybe 2 this year. So that they got all that in the tank, along with now a winning basketball team. And you could just hear it in the building last night. I think people forget. I know you guys remember, but when the Hornets were originally here, they led the league in attendance every year. They were one of the main markets and big time teams. Not like Lakers, Celtics winning championships, but they were one of the more popular teams with their logo, their colors. And they kind of lost that when they moved to New Orleans and had to bring the Bobcats back. And now it just seems like that's coming back around. They've sold out, I believe, pretty much the last half season of their games, which is a record for them in this new building since coming back, and had a record crowd of almost 20,000 there last night. And you could hear it through the screen. It was unbelievable. And to that game, I thought the Hornets won that game 3 times. I thought the Hornets lost that game 3 times. Like, that's how crazy the twists and turns were of this game. And in the past, Hornets teams who struggled would lose those games, and they found a way to win, and it wasn't pretty at all. I mean, I think Khan, who led the NBA in threes, and LaMelo, they combined 2 for 22 on 3-pointers, and they still found, if you would have told me that and they still found a way to win, I would take it. So it was an unbelievable game. Kobe White, unbelievable shot, and then LaMelo, the game winner, and then obviously you had the controversy with LaMelo and Bam. There was so much going on in this game you could talk about.
Diddy, I want to get your thoughts. Like Dustin said, since January 1st, the Hornets had a 33-16 record in that span. Not to mention they picked up Dustin just mentioned Kobe White, still was able to get it going. We haven't even begun to talk about Con Knippel and what he has meant to that team and LaMelo Ball. But last night, man, let's get your thoughts on this 127-126 overtime win over the Miami Heat by the Charlotte Hornets.
I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I'm going to ride on Dustin's coattails here a little bit and pump him up, but because it is definitely fun to watch. Being on the West Coast, we hear all about the Lakers and the Clippers and the Warriors and all that, but I've been keeping track of Knippel out there, and what he's doing. I mean, talking about his shooting, maybe not last night, but the excitement. I mean, I saw a little bit of him when he was playing with Cooper Flagg back in Duke last year. Is that we knew he was going to be something special. So see him come out and actually find a system that allows him to shoot like that, and the success he's had. A couple weeks ago when I saw LaMelo was right behind him in the 3-point leadership, I was just hoping like, LaMelo, gotta give this rookie, give him his love, let him win the 3-point championship, and he ended up winning by 1, which is great. And LaMelo obviously is a West Coast Chino Hills guy too. Seeing him get into a system that works, unlike his brother who still hasn't really found a spot. But for LaMelo, I mean, his dad will tell you over and over again, even back then, that LaMelo was going to be the brightest out of all his 3 kids, and to see him now in a system where he gets to show himself, play, has some teammates around him that can play with them. And I mean, you said it. It's just like when Larry Johnson came into the Charlotte Hornets. It's fun to watch. I don't care if you're wearing green, you're wearing the yellow and purple. To watch the Charlotte Hornets, you got to root for a team like that. So I loved watching that last night. I'm glad they pulled it off, because now you're going to get another, you get one more game, but hopefully you get to see them in a 7-game set and really make some noise. And really make some noise, like you said, on the streak that they're at this. We all know it doesn't matter what your seed is anymore. Like, you just got to catch that hot streak. The Celtics without Tatum, they weren't even supposed to be here. The fact that they're here now with Tatum now on a good run, he's fresh and ready to go. Hornets the same thing. You just got to get in. Once you're in, the numbers don't matter. This could be another Miami Heat type of run that they had a couple years ago, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag, but that's going to be my surprise run here. Is everybody's going to be talking about the Hornets this year?
Yeah, and to that point, Gene, if they get in, if they win this game, obviously they got to take care of business Friday night, but they would face the number 1 seed Detroit Pistons. And people who have followed the NBA this year have noticed that the Pistons and Hornets have been probably one of the biggest rivalries in the league this season. They had a fight in one of the games. They played the other night. They had some pushing and shoving going on. So I'm not saying the Hornets would win that series, but for that young team to get into a series like that against a team they got some animosity towards, that would be great experience for that young team.
Well, I tell you what I like about the game last night, Dustin and Denny, the fact that we talked about Con Knippel 34 minutes, 6 points. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And they sort of isolated him. But man, this is what makes this team scary because everybody has a bad night in the NBA. He's not going to have another night like that, I don't think. And if you're the Pistons, you got to be worried about this because look, Bridges was able to carry the load, Ball was able to carry the load, Miller, who's always been there, and then they got bonus points from Kobe White. Man, I tell you what, if they get to play the Detroit Pistons, man, watch out.
Yeah, they've got different options. Miles Bridges, we have to give credit to, had one of the better games he's had all season on defense and offense. He was really good. LaMelo, I know he finished with 30 and 10 assists, but again, he was 2 of 16 from 3. Like he didn't shoot the ball well. That could have been an even better game. So again, I just think I don't think that I've watched just every game on this team. I don't think they played good last night, and they found a way to win the game. Khan has been unbelievable. And I just want to say something on Khan real quick. Like, there's all this talk about Cooper and Khan and who should win Rookie of the Year, and whoever wins is fine. They're both great. But like, I take into account games played, and I take into account, you don't get to do it often with rookies, a winning team. He took a bad team, and I know he's not the top guy, but he helped change the culture with how he plays every game. And I'm not just saying this because I'm in Charlotte. I think he should win Rookie of the Year. If Cooper would have been healthy and played most of the games, he probably would have won it, but that has to go into consideration. And I see people last night saying, oh, because he had a bad play-in game and the rookie ballots haven't been turned in yet, he could lose it. That game is not a part of it. It's a regular season award. So that game doesn't matter. And Cooper is at home. So I don't like what I'm hearing about that. They're hating on Khan because he got benched. It was a bold move by Charles Lee to bench him, especially when you need a 3 and you sit the league leader, not a rookie leader, an NBA leader in 3-pointers, but it paid off. But you got to remember, this guy's played 81 of the 82 games, now 82 last night.
Right.
He played all the way to the Final Four with Duke. He played in the Summer League, and he's also, from what I've been told from my people on the inside, he's been dealing with the back injury the last few weeks, and he's still playing through. So just one bad game, I think, is only going to make Khan better. And all this talk about who he should lose Rookie of the Year, I think is ridiculous.
Oh, I think it's ridiculous. I agree with you. And like I said, these guys are in a good position. Get another win. You get to take on the number 1 seed, which would be interesting. But before we move on, talk about the Portland Trailblazers, Phoenix Suns.
Well, hold on, real quick, Gene. I don't mean to cut you off. I want to get hold on real quick. I want to get your 2 thoughts on this because I'll take myself out of it. But what did you 2 think about, because it's been all over national TV today, about the play between LaMelo and Bam, and what do you think should have happened? Yeah, what do you think should have happened, and what do you think, should there be a fine, a suspension? I mean, I want to get your thoughts. Since I'm a fan, I cover the team, I'll take myself out of this one for a sec.
Go ahead, Denny.
Well, one thing I don't like about it, and NFL does this, I think baseball does it too. Instead of just handling and moving on, they kind of let this thing run its course and let everybody else chime in, and it really makes it worse, right? I think whether good or bad, you're almost influenced by it, right? Like, there's certain things that the NFL does or baseball does. It's like on the spot, you make the call, you move on. That's it, right? So it wasn't called a flagrant foul. But then you get time, and then media, and then all of us and social media chimes in, and then there's a reaction to it, and then it makes it, good or bad, or good or worse. I think that's what kind of messes the game, messes the play up, or messes the whole idea of it. If it wasn't called, they didn't see it that way. You can go to the video for a minute. You just still didn't call away. Move on. I mean, things like that happen. I know it's a physical game. Let's be honest. It's not. I mean, it gets heated. There's a lot on the line. But if the ones that we entrust, which is the refs, and they didn't make the call at the spot, then it isn't a call. Sometimes it goes one way. Sometimes it goes the other. I don't think. I think they made. It's a call they made. Whether right or wrong, this is the call they made.
Yeah.
And I live with it that way, instead of continuing to say, well, it should have been a flagrant, change the game, we're going to play in protest. No, don't do that, right?
Yeah, I think, Denny, I hear what you're saying. Look, because it's a play-in game. We're not really in the playoffs yet, but I mean, really, we are in the playoffs. If you talk about these 4 teams, that had to get into this position here, I think last night, a flagrant call should have been you got to make the call. You got to make the call. Bam Adebayo is not like a scrub on the Miami Heat's team. I mean, the guy dropped 83 points this year, so he means a lot to that team.
Yeah,
I think and I don't know if you call the flagrant, they get the ball, they shoot free throws. I don't know if it's going to make the outcome any different because Charlotte was still playing great basketball, but you have to take care of that call right then and there. And I noticed tonight in this Orlando Philly game that Tony Brothers, he threw double text out right away within the first 5 minutes of this game. So I think they're trying to make sure that there's no repeat of what we saw last night. And I still wouldn't be surprised if the league is currently investigating this, but I don't know if they can do anything now. But a call should have been made, I think.
I think they should just go ahead and I'm agree with Denny. Like, you got to make the call in the game. I think should they go back and look at it? They do this all the time and upgrade it to a flagrant foul, and there's like a fine with the flagrant foul. Sure. But I don't think we need to go to the level of a suspension. I mean, we've seen Joel Embiid pull some people down in the playoffs and not get suspended. Like, you can go back and review and say, hey, you know what? This probably should have been called a flagrant one. We're gonna make it a flagrant one after the fact. I know that doesn't help the Heat fans, but it'll give a fine to LaMelo, and then we can move on. Because like Denny said, now you just need to move on and get ready for the next games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. All right, and speaking of moving on, how about we get into the look? We were blessed once we got past the Amazon crap last night coverage. I mean, who thought we were going to have two good games? I didn't think anything would top the Charlotte game, but man, the Portland Trailblazers, look, a team that Dustin and Denny. Portland was one of those teams this year that they won games that you was like, wow, I can't believe they won, but you didn't think they would win enough to put themselves in a position to be into a play-in. But look, they took the number 7 seed in the West, and then man, they took care of business. And how about he doesn't spell his name the same way you do, Denny, but he is Denny Avita, man. How about that, man? That guy put up some points last night, and I had people calling me up last night wondering where the hell this guy came from. Well, he came from the Washington Wizards. Anytime you leave the Washington Wizards, you're ready to play ball. And, man, Portland got themselves a gem over there, Dustin.
Yeah, they did. I mean, listen, you got to give Portland a lot of credit. Like, I'm sitting back, and this seems like forever ago, but let's not forget, like, they start the season and they lose their head coach, Chauncey Billups, to this crazy scheme that's gambling scheme that's going on. So like you lose your head coach, and then you're like, man, it's like, what's going to happen from here on? You get an interim coach in Tiago Splitter, who has done an amazing job, should probably get the head coaching job and just be the head coach. And then you get a guy like Denny Avdia who was in Washington and in purgatory, as we call it, and he comes over here and he's got a coming out party. Like, it wasn't just last night. He was an all-star this year, and he's got
absolutely.
I mean, it's been unbelievable what he's doing. You go for 40 on the road to get your team a win. I don't think anybody, if you looked at all those teams in the West from top to bottom, would have said, I have Portland being the 7th seed in the Western Conference. We're talking the Warriors and Clippers who play tonight. We're talking the Mavericks, some other teams. Obviously, they had some injuries, but nobody saw that coming. So you got to give them a lot of credit. And again, to go on the road and get a win like that and come from behind. I mean, it's really unbelievable. They've got a lot of young talent. You talk about Donovan Clingan in the middle. Scoot Henderson seems to be playing a little better ball after coming back from his injury. Shaedon Sharpe. So this is a young team up and coming. And what's crazy is everybody forgets, like, next year, Damian Lillard is going to be on this team. And, who knows what he'll be coming back from the Achilles and being a little older. But you add him into the mix, and this could be a young team that's building something. So very impressive what Portland is doing.
Yeah, good win last night, guys. And like you said, hey, they solidified the 7th seed. That's the good news. The bad news, they get to play the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll talk about that too later. But all right, guys. So look, I know one of the risks of doing the show tonight, we know we had to get in here and get this done, is that we would be on the air while there's a game going on now. And I know you guys got eyes on this Philadelphia game here with about 4 minutes left to go. The Magic is hanging in there with these guys. The 76ers playing without Joel Embiid. I mean, your thoughts on it, Denny? I mean, we don't want to give too much away here in the game, but at the same time, this is definitely a do or die situation for the Magic and the 76ers.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I am watching on the other screen here. It's a 4-point game with less than 4 minutes to go. Uh, it's just I can't really say too much. I can't really. I'm not only looking at the stats, but 34 points for Bane on the Magic side, and then for the Sixers, Maxi's really stepped it up today without Embiid. But I mean, I think the Sixers are cursed. I'll say it right now. I mean, Embiid cannot, for the life of him, play a full year, let alone a full series when it comes game to prime time and playoff time. I mean, come on, like let's. I mean, all you're gonna do is keep the can down the road for these guys. They're never gonna have a full
But
squad
then
to
he's
play
coming off
a series.
he's coming off a surgery though. Are you going to cut him some slack?
I mean, we hear the same story. It's always that's the headline is whether he's gonna play or not or make it or not. It is a barn burner. It's coming down to the wire, and then you got the then you still got the Warriors and the Clippers, which is another one that at the end of the day, I wanted to say this when I was thinking about coming on the show earlier was if you go back to when we were growing up or when I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s and even the early 2000s, when your team was going to make it to the playoffs, we weren't obviously we didn't have social media and all that stuff, but we weren't sitting around talking about, do you think so and so is going to play? Do you think so and so is going to play? They all played no matter what. I mean, it was never a doubt that you were going to have your teams play, or your players, your star players, your favorite players play every game. I mean, it was the headline, the reports, and the TV guys would come out and say it's Isaiah versus Matt Jordan and Jordan versus Bird. Like there was no like game time decision for them not playing right now. And then today to now, where we look at the injury report first to see if our players are even going to play. Right? I'm not downplaying that they actually are hurt or anything like that, but it's just a different way we look at it, right? And it makes a big difference. I mean, Kawhi Leonard is another one that is just he's had a great comeback year, but we're always looking to make sure that he's going to play a full series, and that makes the difference. I mean, there's such a big impact players, Embiid being one of them. If they pulled this out, more props to them. They could do it without Embiid, and then you get him as a bonus, I guess, when he comes back to the series. But they need him for a full run, and that's what when I see the Sixers. Every time I see the Sixers, or every time you see Embiid running down the court, you're like holding your breath. He doesn't hurt himself because God, you don't want that on anybody, right? And same thing for the Clippers and the Warriors tonight. The injury lineup's just as big as the starting lineup sometimes.
I mean, listen, Embiid is definitely cursed. I mean, and the Sixers, I think, are cursed. I mean, I don't know if I can fault him for an appendectomy, and that's kind of something just out of nowhere that's an emergency. But it definitely stinks for Philly because I think he was actually feeling halfway decent, and then Paul George actually got I think the suspension obviously didn't look good, but I think it actually got his legs fresh, and he's been playing great basketball. And then I've said it for 2 years now. Right. I know Embiid's on the team, but Maxi's the face of the franchise. He's an all-star, an all-NBA type player. So they were actually set up to say, hey, yeah, Embiid's been up and down throughout this year, but we're ready to make a run. And then you have something like an appendectomy, and he may be back in a couple of weeks. Maybe they can survive. I doubt it if they win this game and have to play Boston in the first round, obviously. But I mean, the thing I look at is like you said, when I watch him run up and down the court, you can see, I mean, just the wear and tear on those knees. And if it's not this year when he was actually feeling halfway decent towards the postseason because of something fluke happening, there's only going to be more wear and tear on those knees before we get to the playoffs next year. And I just don't. I mean, I honestly think the guy's got 1 or 2 years left max before he can't play basketball anymore. That's just how I feel watching him play. So yes, it is a difficult spot for the Sixers to be in because what do? I've said for a while now, I didn't like the Paul George signing. He's also injury prone. And then I think you gotta kind of build this thing around Maxey and move on from Embiid and George, and we'll see what happens in the offseason. They got a good coach, but yeah, it's always something when it comes to the 76ers.
Always. It's like a broken record, guys. It's the same old thing. Look, and don't forget about the rookie Edgecombe.
Edgecombe's been great, yeah.
Who is definitely going to be a factor in that. And the fact that even with the Joel Embiid situation, I just didn't like how the 76ers covered themselves, by not having a backup big man. I mean, Drummond. I don't know who's lazier, Drummond or Embiid. I mean, I mean, if they both were to run up the court at the same time, it's like watching turtles race. I mean, they both are just sort of, slow. I mean, I don't know. I think they're going to have to look at that in the upcoming draft, this deep NBA draft, which is coming up. But look, like you said, Dustin, the winner of tonight is the 7th seed between the Magic and the 76ers, and they got a date with the Boston Celtics that no one in their right mind, we're going to talk about them here in a little bit when we look at the other pairings, thought that the Celtics would be anywhere near where they are. So, all right, guys, we have one more game coming up tonight, and this is going to be a 9 and 10 seed. And look, I talked to downtown Wayne Brown this morning, so he's at the Dodgers, the Jackie Robinson night, Dodgers versus Mets game there. So, but we talked about the Clippers. And Denny, we covered the Clippers 24 years ago, and the fact that the Clippers with this roster and Tyronn Lue somehow, let me put this graphic up here because I want to make sure I get this right here. How are the Clippers a 9 seed with that roster? Tyronn Lue's $14 million a year salary. This has got to be a crazy situation. Golden State, we can almost make somewhat of an excuse with the injuries and everything. Butler, Steph Curry not playing a whole lot for the year, but right now I'm talking about the Clippers, guys. For them to be a play-in team with that roster, this is a must-win game for them tonight versus the Warriors.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead, Denny. Take it.
No, I was. Yeah, it's crazy. If you saw the headline or he started the season and said, "Hey, Kawhi and Steph Curry are going to be two play-in games with no playoff series for one of them." I mean, you're talking about two superstar future Hall of Famers that one of them is going home tonight because it's a playing game. I mean, it's just crazy because of all the injuries that we're dealing with. We're talking about. I mean, you mentioned Curry, Butler, Porzingis. Keep going down the line and the Warriors, and sometimes you tend to forget. You almost assume it's almost like automatic. Well, the Warriors always make it. Well, and the fun fact: the Clippers have had a winning season for I don't know how many years now, which is pretty amazing. Whether they ever make it past the first round is another story, but they do have a winning record for the last 20 odd years, something crazy like that. But they slowly, they've never really had a really big shift on the roster to get to the playoffs, but they've been slowly making their way, and they rely on Leonard to be healthy. It does say a little bit about them actually making it to the play-in game still with those the depleted rosters, but it does kind of suck that one of them has to go home because they have so much good talent, whether they're old or not. There's still some talent on those teams.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that the Clippers, obviously they had some injuries. They traded James Harden away, which kind of hurt. But this has been Kawhi's best year in what, 5 or 6 years. I mean, I think he's scored the most points he's scored. He's played the most games he's played in a long time, and they're still sitting in a play-in spot. So I felt kind of the same way I feel about him beating the Sixers is how I feel about Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. Like I'm not saying he's doing it on purpose, but he's holding that franchise hostage. I mean, yes, he's played a lot of games this year, but trying to build around a guy like that or trying to build around a guy like Joel Embiid, like you said, it just seems like it's never going to align. And at some point, you got to say, hey, we're going to do something different. Maybe that was the start of it by trading James Harden. And then the flip side is, we've talked about this for a long time, Gene. Steve Ballmer, with all that money, this new arena, he's not going to sit around and wait on this and the top paid coach in the league. So changes are going to happen. And then you still have that Kawhi Leonard investigation going on in the background too, where, what all that went down with his contract, who knows if that could be forfeited draft picks. I mean, there's a lot going on with the Clippers. I mean, I just feel like it's time to do something different there. And on the flip side, I feel the same way about the Warriors, except for different reasons. The reason the Clippers are being held back, maybe not so much this year because Kawhi's had a great year, is because of their star player, Kawhi, not being out there. Now, Steph has been hurt too, but the reason the Warriors are getting held back is because they're not building the right way around Steph Curry. They're wasting the last few. I mean, he's older, so I won't say prime, but they're wasting the last few very good years of Steph Curry. He still plays at an all NBA level and a star in this league, and they're wasting it. And the reason he's so banged up is because he doesn't have any help around him. And I know Jimmy Butler, he came and got hurt. The Porzingis trade was awful. Denny, you've had Porzingis in Boston with those illnesses. You knew that wasn't going to change. He's still not going to be in the lineup. So as much as the Warriors get credit for how they changed the game a decade ago around Klay Thompson and Steph Curry and how that organization built it under Bob Myers, the last couple of years have been criminal what they've done around Steph Curry. And I just you talk about it. These two marquee franchises, Warriors and Clippers, maybe not so like winning wise for the Clippers, but still a big name, and they can't seem to get out of their own way. So it'll be interesting to see whoever loses this or however the outcome comes, what changes come from these organizations, because we talk about it with your Lakers, Gene, but I'm talking about with the Warriors. They have to go all in somehow this summer. I know they went all in with Butler, but they got to go all in to try to get a Giannis or some big name next to Steph if they want to maximize his last couple of years as a big time player.
Yeah, I mean, really, the game is going to be interesting. Denny, you said, Kawhi or Steph is going to go home. I don't know. I give maybe the edge to the Clippers tonight.
I do too.
They appear to be healthy. I don't really see how they can lose this game. That midseason trade, bringing over Garland for Harden, which Garland has had a list of injuries, Dustin. So I don't know, but I just think I agree with you that if they do lose tonight, I expect Steve Ballmer to make some changes. Man, I talk about Tyronn Lue's salary because I compare it to that of the coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, he's making a ton of money, and then he's got other coaches. I mean, look at all the bench. Look at his bench as far as his staff. I mean, he's got some talented coaches over there. So I don't know.
But at the same time, Gene, the coach can only do so much if your players are not on the floor. So I mean,
that's true. I agree with you on that. But I think they win that game. So it looked like the 76ers are gonna get that 7th seed. And so it looks like Dustin. It looks like the Magic and the Hornets Friday night. Let's talk about this real quick, Dustin. I mean, what do you like your chances against the Magic?
I like the matchup. I'm not going to get too cocky. Friday night it's in Orlando, so Orlando will have the home court. But the Hornets pretty much dominated that season series, and they seem to play really well against them, even going to Orlando and winning by 20 or 30 points. So I like that matchup. Even though there was no Embiid, I wanted the Hornets I'd rather go to Orlando than go to a tough place with those fans like Philly with veterans like Maxey and Paul George. So I like that matchup on Friday, and I do think the Hornets are going to win that game. Again, I don't think the Hornets played well the other night, and they got to win. I think they're going to play better on Friday night. That team is not as physical and as experienced as a Miami team or a Philly team. So I like their chances, and the winner of that game will get the number 1 seeded Detroit Pistons. So it should be a good game on Friday night.
All right, Denny.
And real quick, and Denny, I think you know this too, Gene. Their coach is on the way out, no matter what happens. There's a lot of turmoil in that Magic locker room, and Jamal Mosley is not going to make it as that head coach. So I'd rather go against a coach who has some turmoil in the locker room instead of going against a champion head coach like Nick Nurse. So I think it lines up pretty good for the Charlotte Hornets.
I think it worked out pretty good. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into the playoffs here. I mean, we sort of, the East is sort of defining itself, and we know as far as the one is going to be the Pistons versus we don't know yet, right? We're going to find that out. We already know that the Celtics are going to take on the 76ers. We know that the Knicks, who secured the 3 seed, is going to take on the Hawks. And guys, I want to talk to you just real quick here. Two teams, the Hawks and the Knicks. The Knicks, who incredible run last year, the pressure is up for them. They fire Thibodeau, they bring in Mike Brown. They can do nothing but go up. The only problem, there's a couple of teams that they're going to be looking up to, like Celtics and Pistons. But Mike Brown, he knows what his job is. But this Hawks team, guys, Dustin, I didn't see this coming. I didn't see, they get rid of Trae Young, but man, the Hawks, they turned it around quicker than what I expected.
They did, and you know what? I feel like I'm talking about a theme here tonight. You know what they did? They said we need to move on from who we think is the face of our franchise and turn it over to somebody else. And that's what I've been talking about with the Clippers and the Sixers. And Sixers already have it on the roster with Tyrese Maxey. They just need to turn it over to him. And that's what they did here. They realized that Trae Young wasn't going to be a long-term fit in Atlanta. They realized that they had an up-and-coming, and I'm going to go ahead and probably call him a superstar because he's on that route, and Jalen Johnson. He's an all-star. And they said, we're going to hand the keys to this guy, and we're going to build around him. And they took off. And it doesn't always happen like that. But sometimes Trae Young was beloved in Atlanta, but sometimes you have to make those tough decisions to move on. And that's what they did, and it's benefited them. And they've also been one of the hottest teams in the league here lately. I think they finished 18-2 in their last 20 games. Now their schedule wasn't real difficult, but you play who you play, and that will be interesting first round matchup with the Knicks. I know the Hawks are hot, but if you're the Knicks and you've got that experience, you can't lose this series. And we've talked about it all season long, Gene, that it's really finals or bust for the Knicks to take that next step. But I've kind of pulled back from that because I've said on shows in the past that it's finals or bust for the Knicks. I also didn't see Jason Tatum coming back and being the old Jason Tatum this quickly off an Achilles. And I think for me, that puts, and I know Denny's going to smile at this, that puts me as the Boston Celtics as the favorite in the Eastern Conference. But again, the Knicks, if they don't at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals or the Finals, it's going to be a disappointing season for the New York Knicks.
Denny, I'm surprised you're not over there pumping your chest. You get the 76ers who we just talked about all beat up and stuff. I mean, you couldn't ask for what I know Christmas was 5 months ago, and here you are again, or 4 months ago, here you are again, enjoying Christmas, playing the 76ers.
Yeah, I mean, it does make it a little easier road, but I wouldn't, if I, as good as a coach, as good coaches would do, we don't look past the series at a hand, right? Because anything can happen. Because God forbid somebody gets hurt, like when Tatum went down last year, it changes the whole dynamics. They weren't supposed to win 50 games this year, but they did, without him. So I mean, I think the confidence is there, the chemistry's always been there, and they lost some key players. I know Al Horford's not there anymore. Porzingis isn't there anymore. So there's a lot of holes in their lineup. They filled them up pretty nicely, but I only say that because I don't foresee them having much trouble with the Sixers, I'll be honest. But you can't look past the Knicks because you're right. There's do or die for the Knicks. They're always finals or bust, and they're going to be hungry, and they don't have the 3 seed by luck either. So we're going to throw the seeds out when they finally play. So I mean, anything can happen in a 7-game set. So the Knicks, and I'm already putting them past the Hawks, which they shouldn't look past either. But let's not forget the Cavs and the Raptors either. I mean, the Cavs got some star players out there who make some noise. I mean, this is when I start watching every single game, because every game means something. It's exciting. Things can change on a dime. So I still think the Celtics are prime in a good spot. A fully rested and recovered Tatum, as you said, Dustin, looks like he's came back stronger than expected and quicker than expected.
Yeah.
So put him in a good spot. But I mean, they've been there, done that, where the other ones haven't. But that makes them even more hungry.
On paper, it looks like I like the way things worked out. And me and Dustin talked about this. I think there was a show we did earlier on in the year where we thought it would be Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, and Cavaliers, maybe in this order, maybe Knicks behind the Cavaliers. I don't know. Those top 4 teams, I kind of think you're going to see these teams beat up on each other. But now what's exciting, guys, is every year you get new players. And look, the fact that the Hawks and Raptors were not in the play-in game says a lot about those teams, right? So I think the Cavaliers, man, look, last year we cut them some slack because they had a lot of injuries. They made monumental trades here, but yet you can't overlook that what is it, 5 seed,
Well,
Raptors.
Well,
man,
I'm gonna stop you there. You can't overlook them. And if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers and you don't take care of the Toronto Raptors,
you better,
then
agreed.
it's time to blow the thing up, because the Toronto Raptors, I'm not sure how they actually fell back into the 5th seed, because they've been one of the teams who's been struggling the most down the
right.
stretch. I'm not saying they don't have talent in Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, stuff like that, but you're the Cavs, like Denny said. You're one of the teams who's considered to be one of the top tiers in the East. I'm not saying they're going to go deep. I like their team better with James Harden and Garland, but at the same time, we know Harden in the playoffs, and we also know the Cavs in the playoffs. They haven't proven it and shown it, but I will say, if they get to the second round and they lose to a top team or the Celtics next, whoever they end up matching up with, Pistons, then that's probably fine. If they lose in the first round to the Toronto Raptors with that roster, with Mobley and Mitchell and James Harden, you've got a lot of big questions that you got to make some changes to. And I know there's rumors about maybe LeBron going back there for the last year, but you can't lose that first round matchup.
No, you cannot.
You cannot lose that first round matchup to the Toronto Raptors.
All right, guys, for the sake of time, let's go ahead and move it over to the Western Conference. Like we mentioned already, we do have another play-in game that just got underway. You got the Clippers and the Warriors. Clippers, this is a 9-10 seed. Loser of this game is eliminated, where the other team, sets and gets prepared to take on the Phoenix Suns, right? So, but anyway, just the way the West ended this year, you have the Thunder, the defending champions, Oklahoma City Thunder. They're sitting right there. They have led the Western Conference from start to finish the entire year. Now, the surprise over in the West was the number 2 seed, the San Antonio Spurs. Man, these guys, man, what a team. What a team. Dustin, your thoughts on the Spurs being able to just be where they are so quick with a young.
I'm really high. I'm really high on the Spurs. I really am. I mean, they've got depth. Of obviously, Wemby is the head of the snake. They've got guard play when it comes to Fox and Harper and guys like that. They've got role players who know their roles. They've got a good young coach. I just wonder. We always, when we talk about these NBA games, Denny, these playoffs, it takes a team who doesn't have that experience in the playoffs like one time to get their feet wet and really get that experience before they make that deep run. So the question is, are the Spurs gonna bypass that and make their deep run right off the bat, or are they gonna have to get this playoff experience, and then next year is the year they say, all right, it's like championship or bust. Now that we got that playoff experience, now we're ready to go. That's what's going to be interesting to see, because they did dominate the Oklahoma City Thunder in the regular season, but playoffs are different basketball. So the question is, are the Spurs ready to do it right now, or do they need to get that experience first, and then maybe next year's the year you take that extended leap in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, I heard that right before the show too. Is very exactly what you said. The Spurs, is this just the test drive? Yeah, you get the number 2 seed, throw the seeds out, you start playing with, it gets experience. Teams that have been there before, you're going to run into maybe a hot Laker team, or maybe a healthy Laker team. Then what? Then the seeds don't matter. Or you do play against, eventually you could run into the Oklahoma City, who've been there, done that. And, it's fun to watch, but it's also like that playoff experience means so much. It comes down to the coaching, comes down to the veterans. That's why this is the playoffs. We love watching all these games because anything can happen. But I wouldn't crown them yet. I mean, I know ESPN crowned them this morning, but
they
I
wouldn't
get
crown them yet because
there's a lot of things you got to go through.
Like the Portland Trailblazers.
You're on mute.
No, we got you now.
Okay, we got the Portland Trailblazers, the number 7 seed here, which I think the Spurs cannot overlook these guys, because although the Trailblazers are really young, but so are the Spurs as far as it goes in the playoffs. But anyway, we'll talk more about it. But rounding out the other playoff seedings in the West, you have the Nuggets, the Denver Nuggets. They were one-time champions a couple of years ago. They are the 3 seed taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves are the 6 seed. And look, man, Dustin, Denny, there's a lot of history there between these two teams, and I think Minnesota is that one team has been peaking or been knocking on the door, or probably should have kicked it down by now, but they haven't. Somebody always gets in their way, and for this first round, it's going to be the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Timberwolves have went to the Western Conference Finals in back-to-back years. Let's not forget that. And one of the I can't remember which year it is, but one of them they were taking out the Denver Nuggets, and so now you're like, okay, yes, Minnesota's a 6 seed, but we're talking about a team who's been to back Western Conference Finals. You're talking about a team with Anthony Edwards, who's got one of the players who's one of the faces of the leagues at this point. So like, it is going to be a very interesting series. Now, my take on this is it's a bad matchup for Minnesota this year. Maybe not last year, maybe not the year before. But I think this Denver team is primed to kind of be like the old Denver in the playoffs. Not saying they'll make a run to win a championship, but they finally got Jamal Murray back to being Jamal Murray. And when you have him to go along with what Jokic is doing, Aaron Gordon, they're finally back healthy, Christian Braun, those type guys, I just like what Denver's doing right now. I think it'll be a long series, 6 or 7 games, and I would never count out Anthony Edwards because he can carry a team through. But I just like what Denver's doing right now, and I like them in this series. And that's when you go, man, we're talking about the T-Wolves who were back-to-back Western Conference finalists losing in the first round. We're saying this about a lot of these teams, Gene. They have star players and great rosters, but where do you go to get to that championship step? And if you've been Western Conference finals back-to-back years, and now you're a 6 seed and possibly going out in the first round, you've got to reevaluate some things. I mean, obviously not Anthony Edwards, but you got to reevaluate what's around him. And so there's a lot of questions. We'll see if I'm right about that, but I lean the Denver Nuggets in that series.
Denny, I want to get your thoughts on this series because there's nothing more exciting than to get a Celtics fan to talk about the Lakers, right? So I don't know where you Denny, can you hear me?
So I can hear you, Gene, but I don't think he can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Dustin, if you repeat the question,
yeah, I'll relay it to him. So let me. I know where you're going with this, Gene. So Gene is actually being nice and giving a Celtics fan the floor to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. So give us your thought on where the Lakers are and as they get ready for this series against. This is a Gene Thompson Mean Gene series right here. The Los Angeles Lakers versus the Houston Rockets where he resides. So give us your thoughts on where the Lakers are at. You talk about cursed teams with the Sixers. I'm starting to think the Lakers might be cursed because I think they really were in a really good spot with how they were playing basketball before Luka and Austin Reeves went down. I think LeBron finally kind of accepted that role of being the playmaker and not having the ball in his hands. And then all of a sudden you get these injuries. So what do you see with the Lakers heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, the run they had. I mean, you can turn a channel without hearing about the Lakers and the run they were making and LeBron accepting his role. And, it was one of those things where they were talking about can we get right before that was, can we get past the LeBron era and move on? Can we move on? And so we got Luka now, we got Austin Reeves, like, let's go. But then, when they hit that run, it was I can't remember, don't call me on the number of games they won in a row, but then to see them all playing at the level they're playing, I mean, they were talking championship out here. They were talking parades already. And this is, before Luka went down, and now it's like it just felt like the air come out of the out of it all, right? Because you see somebody go down like that. I mean, LeBron is still LeBron. You named a bunch of star players on the West. Almost every team has a star player, a game changer that can carry a game, a series on their backs. Jokic, Anthony Edwards, Luka. Luka didn't just win the scoring title out of nowhere, right? It wasn't like he killed it. I mean, for him to be back at full strength, if he does, and LeBron being LeBron, we know when it comes prime time, he's ready to go. It's a scary team. And a 4 seed, that means, they win. Then they would probably play the Thunder. and then they wouldn't see the Spurs if they get past the Thunder. I mean, to get past, I heard that we're talking that everybody's still going to be on some, minute restriction, which is like, I mean, that's just crazy. This is the
Yeah,
playoffs, but I
yeah,
mean, they almost were like, well, we want to keep them safe and healthy for another run next year. Like, guys, you're running out of time, LeBron. We're talking about
Yeah.
running out of time with Curry a minute
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
You're
100%.
this might be it with LeBron. You got to go all or nothing on this, and
Yeah.
if everybody's they're hitting on all cylinders. How could I even say this? We could see them at least at the Western Conference Finals, if not the finals, one more time.
And Gene, before you jump in, I've said that before about the Lakers. I know LeBron gets a lot of flack because he likes to make some of these moves. I get all that, but Rob Pelinka to me has been a terrible general manager, and he's wasted the time around LeBron. He got Luka handed to him. Let's just be honest, like that was a gift, and then he still, finally got to this point where maybe they maximize it, but he just hasn't had a good roster construction. And like you said, they're wasting kind of what's going on out there, and they could have some big changes coming too. So, Gene, how are you feeling with your Lakers going up against the Rockets where you live in Houston?
well, you know, like both of those teams, right? You know,
I know, I
those
know.
are my two favorite teams in the NBA. Lakers first, of course. Rockets second. Look, the Rockets got to be licking their chops because they played three times this year. The Lakers won two of those games. I was at the one game with the Lakers and Rockets a couple of weeks ago. This is going to be a monumental disappointment for Laker fans and the Lakers. Look, one reason why you bring up Rob Pelinka, one reason why you should play Dalton Connect because of situations like this. You know, it just eats me alive to see that talent on the bench, and he gets out there in scrub minutes. As a matter of fact, he gets out there after Bronny James. Now you can't tell me who's the better player between Bronny James and Dalton Connect. Okay, so I got to think that the GM is calling the shots of not putting this kid on the court. But besides that, guys, I mean, this is it. You're taking 50 points off the scoring box for Luca and Reeves. Okay, LeBron would have to average at least 30, 35 a night to get past this series, which I don't see it happening. Rui Hachimura, he's going to have to step it up. Vanderbilt has been a total disappointment. Jackson Hayes has probably been one of the most exciting players on the team to watch, you know, as far
Yeah.
as stepping in and getting things done. But no,
So it sounds like
this
you got
series
them
is
losing.
I got them losing. No,
Okay.
they look. These are the Rockets. You've already beat them. You beat them what? Almost back to back nights. It wasn't
Yeah,
really
they
back to
handled them.
back, but
Yeah.
you owned them. No, this team, the Rockets, even without a true point guard, the Houston Rockets are going to get past this series. They still got big men that the Lakers can't contend with. They can't do nothing with Şengün. They can't do nothing with Jabari Smith and Kevin Durant. And you know, they better be
Well,
glad Steven Adams ain't healthy.
Well, I will say this. I'm not saying who's going to win. I think it's going to be a closer series than you think, even without Reeves and Luca. Maybe that's kind of how I feel about Houston. I'm not really sold on them. I do agree with you that Sengun's a matchup nightmare for the Lakers. That is a huge matchup. But what it does is, and Denny, you can correct me if I'm
Mm-hmm.
wrong here, it honestly takes the pressure off LeBron in this series. And what it puts the pressure on is Kevin Durant. Like, you talk about a legacy kind of defining stuff like Kevin Durant, you change teams again, you come to Houston, and now you have a chance to get this Lakers team, who LeBron's still very good, but without Luka and without Austin Reeves, you lose this series, and that's not that in my eyes. And I know it's a team game, but in my eyes, that's not a good look for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, we talked about Leonard and Curry. Same thing. I mean, it's not a playing game, but it's a first round series. It's a superstar, potential Hall of Famers here are going to get knocked out in the
Yeah,
first round, and we all want to. Everybody, I still want to see Kevin Durant shoot the lights out, but
yeah,
he might not be here. And if they do get lucky, and we might
Mm-hmm.
not see LeBron might get exited out in the first round, and this is
yeah.
and then every game the announcers are going to be saying, "Is this the last time we're going to see him in a Lakers jersey?"
Yeah.
Uh, that
Right.
storyline is going to be. But you're right, the pressure's not on LeBron anymore because it's not all on him anymore, and he's accepted that. I think he does better now with it, but
Yeah.
it's still when nobody else is around to answer questions, everybody's going to go to LeBron and say
Absolutely.
it's all on you.
Yeah. It's going to be a fascinating series. It's going to be interesting to watch, Gene, and for people forgetting, the Lakers do have the home court advantage in that series. So it'll be interesting to, this late in their career to get a LeBron Kevin Durant matchup again. We're probably not going to get to see many more of those, so I'll definitely cherish that. So you got some. I mean, you talked about it, Denny and Gene. Jokic versus Anthony Edwards, LeBron versus KD. I mean, you got some big time matchups going on in the West in the first round of the playoffs.
All right, guys. Look, we're gonna have to wrap it up here because we can talk NBA basketball all night. Look, the playoffs. We got a couple of more play-in games. We got this 9 and 10 tonight between the Warriors and the Clippers. The loser goes home. Friday night, the day before the playoffs begin, we got the Hornets and the 76ers. And then we're going to have the Suns versus the winner of this game tonight. And then Saturday morning, Dustin, Denny, I mean, it's NBA playoffs. It's like, 40-something games in the next 40 nights. You're going to have action on every night. So we're going to come back. I think the second round, guys.
Well, no, I'm putting you on the spot right now before the show ends, and I have to ask the question so Denny can hear us both. The playoffs start Saturday. We're not going to wait till the second round. I need a finals prediction and a champion right now.
Go ahead, Denny.
I'm putting you on the spot. So, Denny, Gene told you to go first, so go ahead.
Okay, it's probably better I don't hear a Laker fan first. So, so I almost sound like a homer, but and I almost sound like I'm running on the bandwagon. But I mean, I gotta go with my Celtics, pulling it out with all the things that we said, and all the reasons, and the finals, and then, I think the West is with all those superstars, anything's possible. But I think OKC is going to make a return trip. I don't think the Spurs, to what we were talking about earlier as well, is this is their test drive. So I think it's OKC and the Celtics, 7 games, with the green pulling off number 19 is my call.
There's a shocker, Gene. There's the shocker of the night. Denny Sharma has the Celtics win the NBA championship.
I'm not surprised at all, but let me go.
What you got, Gene? Go ahead.
Look, I think Oklahoma is a train that never stopped rolling from last year. I just think they're gonna get it done regardless of who they go up against in the Western Conference Finals. Look, I am going with the New York Knickerbockers.
Ooh, he's going with the Knicks, Denny.
The East.
What?
He's going with Knicks.
I think Mike
in Oklahoma City.
I think Mike Brown is under a lot of pressure. They did not bring Mike Brown in there. Mike Brown has to make the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, he's talking about Mike Brown and the pressure that he's under, and he said the Knicks are going to go to the finals.
If Mike Brown gets to if the Knicks and Mike Brown get to the Eastern Conference Finals, they are going to win the East, and so my matchup is Knicks and Thunder in the NBA Finals.
With Thunder going back to back?
With Thunder going back to back.
All right, he's got the Thunder going back to back. I could be completely wrong, and I'll have egg on my face. I'm going out on a limb here. I am taking the Boston Celtics out of the East, Denny. I never thought Tatum would come back this quick. First of all, I wasn't sure he'd play all year. And then second of all, for him to come back and be at this level this quickly, the other guys around him without him, Brown, and these role players have had this experience now playing big-time minutes without him, and I just think that's going to pay off. So I've got them in the finals. In the West, I'm going with an upset. I'm probably going to look dumb for going against Oklahoma City or San Antonio. I'm taking the Denver Nuggets to come out of the Western Conference. I think in a series, if they match up with the Spurs, I think Jokic will get the better of them in a great series. And you know what? Screw it. I'm taking the Denver Nuggets to win the NBA championship.
I mean, Jokic is still a top 3 player in the NBA. You can't rule him out yet. So I much respect that.
And they have won 12 in a row as they head into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what it all. That's you got to get on a hot run. It's all that matters.
Right time. Yep.
That's true.
We'll see.
All right, guys. Look, we're gonna come back here in a couple of weeks here and get to the second round, see how things go with these NBA playoffs. But I want to thank you both for jumping on tonight. And Denny, sorry you couldn't hear me, Denny. It's because of that Celtics shirt you wearing. All right.
He said, Denny. He said the reason you couldn't hear him the last half of the show is because of that shirt you were wearing. So we made it work. We made
All
it
right,
work.
you guys. Hey, we out of here, guys.